Todd Coley here with the Texan News Service with head football coach Cary Fowler. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for asking us over today.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, you had a couple big wins the last couple weekends over Kingsville and Eastern New Mexico. Explain what that does as a team to help build confidence at an important time of the season.
Yeah, well, we struggled. We started out, with a big win at West Texas, and then, we're still, we got a lot of veterans back, but we're a relatively young team in some areas, and then the injury bug hit us. Played well against a really good Florida Tech team and a Midwestern team where we had a chance to win the game in the end, and we didn't. And then we played probably our worst game at Commerce in our special teams, got us behind with some situations. And we've been in this situation before. This freshman class, or the senior class, when they were freshmen, they started out 1-5 and then won their last 5 games to end it. And we talked about that whole situation because the way the schedule is going to end, we still have a chance. We made some adjustments offensively. We made some adjustments defensively to the things that our personnel can do. And we're just trying to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and into really good wide receivers' hands and let them play and not try to stretch the field vertically as much, and which opens up your run game. And their defensive backs have to close on us now, and opens up our run game. And offensively, we've done well. We've done really well in our return game with our punt return and with our kickoff return, which has set our offense up at midfield. And that's why you see the points being scored. And then defensively, we've got a lot of stops. Against Kingsville we did. The other night, it had 7 points at the half. They made a little run there in the third quarter. And but at this time, we've played so many great opponents. We had to get some of those kids off the field because we got a long stretch. Playing McMurray this week, and then Angelo, and then getting into the Lone Star Conference tournament. My thought at that point was I've got to get some of these guys off the field, get some playing experience, and make sure these guys are healthy for the stretch run.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, you talk about the Lone Star Conference and how hard it is. Talk a little bit about, what it means to play every week in this conference and how hard it is. At the beginning of the season, there was more than just Tarleton picked to win the conference. There was a lot of teams.
Yes, 6 teams.
So, talk a little bit about how it is playing in that conference.
It's very difficult. Used to when I was in the league as a defense coordinator at Midwestern State for many years before I came to Tarleton, and we played the Oklahoma schools. Well, the Texas schools generally were undefeated coming out of the first part of the season, which they had 5 wins. And then you came in and you had 6 games or 5 games in the South, and you could split and look like, and have a pretty good year. Now you're having to play these guys, twice, and then we're stepping out playing the Gulf South team with Florida Tech, who almost beat, in some polls, North Alabama's ranked number 1. Should have beat them a week ago and have beat, at 1AA teams and played very well. You got to play good teams to get experience. I wonder what these other teams would be like I wonder what they would be like if they came back and had to play Lone Star Conference schools. One of the teams that are in our league, or in our region, out of the north part, up in the Michigan League, they got 15 teams. 11 teams have losing records. Well, our 6th place team has a winning record. You have to play and now that Commerce has clinched the conference, as long as I've been in this conference, every team in our conference has won the conference championship. Since I've been at Tarleton, every team has won the conference championship now. That tells you week in, week out that you got to play very well. But then we've had one team make the playoffs the last couple of years, and they go to the region. They win the region, and then they go to the finals of the region both times. What happens if they put 2 teams in there? It's only going to be a better situation. We have more NFL players out of this conference than any 1AA conference or the FCS or Division II. The players here are more dominant than even the small mid-majors that go into the National Football League. And that tells you how dominant we are. And it's what we refer in the coaching language, it's a bloodbath because you got to come with it every week. And that's a huge situation, huge things for us. But it's very, very, very difficult to play and be successful. The team that can play with their roster, if their starting lineup stays the same throughout the year, very minimal changes, they win the conference. Tarleton State a year ago, and that's what's happening, with a lot of teams now. If they stay healthy, you can win. If you get banged up, they're going to find your weak spot very, very quickly.
Now, you talked a little bit about opening the offense up. We've definitely seen that the last couple of weeks. We've seen Clifton Rhodes III set the Tarleton record for catches. We've seen Colin Strahan set records, then break his own records that he's set. So talk a little bit about those two guys and how they've been able to break out so well for you guys.
Clifton is, over a period of time, he's been in the top 10 in the league in receiving for the last 3 years, and he'll be, again, for his 4th year. And he's been playing since I got here. We opened it up and threw the ball, base our passing game, a lot of stuff off the air raid systems that you see, but we run it a little bit more. And, Clifton has been a product of consistency over his career, and that's why you're seeing that. And you'll see him break another record very quickly, and he may break another one. Colin was a very highly recruited quarterback coming out of high school. Played at Mesquite Horn High School, took them deep in the 5A playoffs, and they had never been to the playoffs, much less win a game. And he played for former Hall of Famer Rodney Webb at Mesquite Horn, and he was offered at Louisiana Tech. Then at the very end, they dropped him, and it came down between us and Valdosta State, which is a premier power and won a lot of national championships. And it came down to us too, and he was a highly recruited player. For him to slip to Division II was a surprise. We redshirted him his freshman year when Nick Stevens was here with us and went on to the NFL. And then we had the 2 quarterbacks, which he was in a battle with him. His freshman year, he was on the kickoff team because he can play multiple positions. He's a great athlete. And he got hurt, and we had to redshirt him. He's had 2 knee surgeries over the last 2 years. He's just now getting back being healthy. And it's no mystery that he can make plays. I didn't want to put the pressure on him. I made comments about him early in his career that he could do things at our level that Johnny Manziel did at Texas A&M. Well, you're seeing it now. You had this when you can run the football and throw the football and account for 540 yards. Those are the same things that the fans seen, in College Station where Johnny Manziel. Colin is that type of player at our level. He's now getting comfortable in the offense. We're getting comfortable with him. We had to make changes that cater to his needs, and that's why the production has gone up so high over the last couple of weeks.
Now, you talk about getting comfortable as an offense and, setting in as a defense. What is it going to take for you guys to win these next 2 games and hopefully, go into the tournament pretty strong?
Well, number one, what we've done a good job offensively is take care of the football. We've only turned the ball over 6 times. Where we've had letdowns is in our kicking game. We lost Isaac Ariano, who was our punter and our kickoff guy, all-conference player that was, in the top 5 in the nation in punting. When you lose your punter who can flip the field, Blake Barnes has done a very, very good job, but he didn't punt at Stephenville High School. So, he has done a good job, but our coverage teams have let down, and we've got to be solid in the special teams. That's what beat us at Texas A&M Commerce. Last week it let Eastern Mexico get back in the game there at the end because of our punt coverage and our kickoff coverage, and we've got to be able to force the field position and pin them back and take care of the football. And then defensively, with these great offenses that we're going to be facing week in, week out, you just count stops. It's like Gary Patterson was a defensive genius at TCU until he came to the Big 12. But he got smart and he hired 2 great offensive coordinators that run an up-tempo system because he knows he has to score points. I'm a defensive guy where I've had the top defenses in the country before. But I realize in this league, you can't play 14-7 games anymore. They got too many players on offenses, and we've got to count stops on defense and then keep scoring and taking care of the offense. And if we can flip the field position on them instead of letting them, Eastern Mexico got the ball at midfield 7 times the other night. We were lucky in a sense there. That usually is disaster. We've got to be able to flip the field. If we can do that, we can play with anybody in the country.
Well, Coach, I look forward to the next 2 games. I wish you guys the best of luck, and I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.